trying to capture the kind of randomness and like spunky design that they had during like in the 1990s. Like a lot of the like TV shows and like that kind of stuff that we used to watch as kids had these cool like wacky designs. And I was trying to design something for my bedroom that I could use to like look at myself in the morning. And I also wanted to have Raspberry Pi Alexa integrated into it as well, so I could talk to it and figure out my schedule and what was going on with my day. So like I said, the aesthetic that I was going for was kind of like what would a smart mirror look like in the 1990s. So a lot of like Rugrats and Zoom had these cool like jagged, colorful designs, and I was trying to replicate that as best I could in like kind of a simplistic, small shape. You can see before I had like a really complicated like giant 20-inch mirror that I was gonna make, and then I decided that it would be a lot simpler and probably a lot cooler looking if I made it much smaller, which I'm really glad that I did. But you can see a lot of the asymmetrical like features that it has. When I designed it in SolidWorks, I used 2 ellipses for the outside and inside points. So while it is asymmetrical, it still falls on an ellipse for the inside and outside points, which gives it like this kind of cool like half symmetrical, half asymmetrical look that I really like. So my budget, I was trying to stay under like $30 or so. I already had a Raspberry Pi and the speaker that I used to connect to the Raspberry Pi, so I didn't have to buy that. But I purchased plywood for the mirror, painter's tape so that I could get that cool blue and orange look, and acrylic paint as well for the orange and blue. And then I had to buy a microphone so that the Alexa could hear me and respond to my commands. So in total, I spent about $24 on this project. I laser cut the frame in the ITLL using their laser cutters. So I made that jagged shape, and I also cut out the back panel, which was about like an inch bigger on the top and bottom than that hole that I had cut out, so that I could have something to place the mirror on. So it wasn't just glued into the frame; it was actually like glued onto something. It took me a long time to get it right because I never cut wood before. Cutting wood is very complicated because too much power and you burn it, and not enough and you don't cut through. So definitely learned a lot there. For the painting, I did 2 layers of this like blue sparkly paint. You can't really see the glitter in this, but it was glittery. And I covered it in kind of I would lay painter's tape over in these lines, press it down, and then go over it with the orange, which I also did 2 layers of. So we got this kind of cool zebra striped look. And then I just super glued the back frame onto the back of the mirror, and then I super glued the mirror into that frame. So for the Raspberry Pi, it hosts the microphone and one of the USB ports, and then the speaker plugs into the auxiliary port on the board. So it was linked to my Amazon account, which was kind of cool because then it could like tell me specific things about like my account. The only thing it can do is play music, so like Spotify or Pandora was a no-go. But basically what I had to do was download the necessary files on the Raspberry Pi from the Amazon Vendor Services website and download the Alexa credentials, and then I had to actually go through and install the like Alexa package onto the Pi using the command window, and it pulled a lot of power, so it kept causing the Pi to crash because it was too powerful, and so it took like a couple of hours of just continuously trying for it to finally get installed. And then I had to use refresh tokens to ensure that I wasn't stealing their Alexa services and selling them back to the general public. And then I integrated it with the speaker using a auxiliary cord, and then the actual power cable for the Pi is plugged into the speaker as well. I wanted to do Bluetooth functionality, so I didn't have to do this, but it ended up being way more complicated than it was worth, and so I just ended up going with a auxiliary cord. So here's the final product. You can see I still need to figure out how to hang it on the wall because I did not think about that when I was designing it, but I might use string or some kind of like bracket that I can glue on the back so that I can hang it up on the wall in my house. And yeah, so like I said, I just wanted a mirror that would help me stay organized and also be small enough that I can move with it when it comes time to leave Colorado. And I grew up in the 90s, and so I was a fan of this aesthetic, so I was trying to copy it as much as I possibly could. And yeah, so the Raspberry Pi and speaker will sit on my desk in my room, and then I'll hang the mirror on the wall. And then I'd love to make another mirror at some point like this because it was a really fun process and I learned a lot. That's it. Any questions?